Welcome to the Parsha Perspective. Each week, we will delve deep in a weekly Torah portion to find a practical and insightful way to enhance your daily life. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Rabbi Shalom Yamini, and each week we will look into the weekly Torah portion to find practical and insightful ways to enhance your daily life. This week's Parsha Perspective is in honor of our homeland, Eretz Yisroel. May God protect our brave soldiers, and may God return all the hostages from Gaza immediately. This week's Parsha Perspective is in loving memory of Edward Ben Efraim, Shlomo Ben Edward, and Yirachmiel Daniel Ben Gedalia. May their souls be uplifted and may their memories be a blessing. This week's Torah portion is Parshas Teitzei as we get closer to Rosh Hashanah and the high holidays. Our Parsha continues Moshe's final address to the Jewish nation. He begins with the laws regarding how a soldier can marry a female captive of war, and he outlines the mandate that the firstborn son always has the right to a double portion of his father's property. He then continues with the unique law of the Ben Efraim, a rebellious and wayward son, and I spoke about him in previous episodes on this week's Torah portion. There are over 70 commandments, 70 mitzvahs in our Torah portion. Some of the more notable ones are returning a lost object to its owner, Hashavas Aveda, the obligation to send away the mother bird before taking her young, Shiluach HaKan, the mitzvah of wearing Tzitzis, and the law against wearing Shatnez, any garment that contains a mixture of wool and linen. However, a question comes to mind. Towards the end of our Parsha, Moshe repeats the laws of Tzaras, the laws of leprosy, and then commands the mitzvah to remember Miriam's experience and episode with Tzaras. The pasuk states, "Zachar eis asher asa Hashem lekecha leMiriam b'derech b'tzeischa miMitzrayim." Remember what God did to Miriam on the journey after you left Egypt. This remembrance is one of the 6 that we mention daily, along with destroying Amalek, the remembrance of Shabbos in our exodus from Egypt. But why are we required to remember Miriam's affliction and experience with Tzaras? What lesson is Moshe conveying to his people in his final address to the nation? Rashi, Rav Shlomo Yitzchaki, the leading Torah commentary, gives a simple explanation. He views this remembrance as a subtle warning, as a hint to the nation. If you speak badly about a fellow Jew, you will be afflicted with Tzaras. Just as Miriam, the prophetess, with all her holiness, was stricken with Tzaras for not speaking correctly about Moshe Rabbeinu, so too will anyone else who speaks negatively about a fellow Jew. Rashi explains that this remembrance is a negative commandment, not to follow the specific action of Miriam, even though she was a prophetess. Despite her good intention, she was afflicted with Tzaras and had to exit the Jewish camp for 7 days. We must remind ourselves daily to the effects and to the consequences of speaking badly and negatively about a fellow Jew, regardless of our intention. Rashi's explanation makes it clear that Tzaras isn't just a punishment. It is a direct result of Lashon Hara, of speaking badly about a Jew. When someone speaks badly about others, it creates distance. It creates harm, just like Tzaras separates the person from the community. By remembering Miriam's experience every single day, Moshe Rabbeinu is reminding the nation that our words have real consequences and that we must be careful with our speech and actions. However, the Rabbeinu B'chaya, Rav Bachya ben Asher, gives a deeper and more profound explanation. He quotes the Ramban, Rav Moshe ben Nachman, who takes an entirely different approach to this remembrance. According to the Ramban, this remembrance is a positive commandment, and it serves as a reminder that if Miriam, with all her righteousness, was punished, how much more so we should be careful with our words and our actions. The Rabbeinu B'chaya explains that this remembrance is similar to the others, which are all positive mitzvahs, positive commandments, like remembering to keep the Shabbos, remembering our Yetzias Mitzrayim, our exodus from Egypt, and the attack of Amalek. Those remembrances positively shape our actions and behavior, and so too does the commandment to remember Miriam's experience with Tzaras. According to the Rabbeinu B'chaya, our actions, ideally only positive, please God, can truly change the direction and path of our lives. The positive commandment is to remind us of Miriam's experiences with Tzaras, as teaching us the positive and profound effect and power of the human interaction with God's creation and with God's world. We can fulfill God's desire for a dwelling place here on earth, and by remembering Miriam's story, we are reminding of the responsibility we have to bring God's presence into our world. The Rabbeinu B'chaya's profound lesson is ever more relevant as we continue in the month of Elul and prepare for Rosh Hashanah, the New Year and the Day of Judgment. As mentioned many times, the king is metaphorically in the field throughout the month of Elul. During Elul, God's holiness, God's spirituality is more apparent, more tangible, making it easier to build a relationship with our Father in heaven. Our actions, our intentions during this time are crucial because we can truly change the course of the year ahead. But this remains a joint endeavor. Just as a king leaves his palace, his subjects must leave the city to greet him in the field. Just as God becomes more accessible during the month of Elul, we must become more receptive of His holiness, of His spirituality and light. And this is the time to remove the barriers that stand in our way and open ourselves to God's presence. We need to step out of our comfort zone and go to the field to meet the King of all kings, the Creator, the Master of the universe, our Father in heaven. In our daily life, it is imperative that we understand that our actions matter. We must take initiative and begin our journey because what we do can truly change the narrative. We cannot wait for others to direct our growth and success. Each of us can change our situation and contribute to God's plan for our lives. The choice we make and the actions we take shape not only our path, but also God's reality. Whether this means pursuing a new career, starting a new project, or embarking on a journey of self-discovery, we have the power to create change. And it's up to us to take the first step, knowing that God supports those who act with determination. By putting our efforts into motion, we can influence the outcome and realize our unique potential. Our actions define the direction we take, and through them, we fulfill God's vision for this world. There's a profound quote from Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs of blessed memory. We must expand our horizons of responsibility, not just for ourselves, but for the sake of generations not yet born, for the sake of God, whose guests on earth we are. Have a great weekend and good Shabbos. Thank you for tuning in to the Parsha Perspective. Check out our website, theparshaperspective.com. Send thoughts and comments to theparshaperspective@gmail.com. Till next time, thanks for listening.